Good morning, community. How are you? Good afternoon to the East Coast. I have no idea what time it is, but I think it's close to 9. How are you today? I'm Janine Macklin, transformational speaker, your wealth guide and catalyst. Well, my stylist says she's up and running, so I get my hair colored, so it's all one color instead of three. How are you today? Hey, David, how are you? I thought about you this morning, David. You know what? I realized that, let me know you can hear me because my gardener came on a different day. And even though I'm in my office, maybe I put my earbuds on, hopefully you can hear me. But I realized this morning when I was coming or going up the hill, and I kept saying one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. The reason why my glute was hurting me so much is the heel goes up, but on the sides it's like this. So when we're walking on the sides, we're trying to balance, the way the road is. So the last few times that I've done that 4 miles, what made it not so uncomfortable was I just walked in the middle of the street, completely flat, completely even. So I realized that today. I'm like, that's why it feels so much better for me going up these 4 miles and back and going up this hill. And I thought about you. I said, if I come on Saturday, I'm going to tell David, and look at you here bright and early this morning. Wednesday wisdom. I don't know what I put there. How are you? I was really, really hurt yesterday. And even as I began to think about it and talk about it, I can just feel that emotional piece. And I try not to burden you with a whole lot of emotions because I know you're going through a lot out there. I'm sure some of you struggling with money and finances and kids at home and not sure what's going to happen next. And in all honesty, not a whole lot about this has been emotional for me. I always knew that or felt like, yay, David's walking. The president that was chosen for a reason, just like Barack was chosen for a reason. And Barack brought a whole lot with him. America never planned on having a black president and couldn't believe that it happened not once, but it happened twice. So to some degree, we've been living with the ramifications of that choice that we as the people of America made 2 times in a row to put someone different in office who we thought might move us toward where we say we want to go. So I knew there were ramifications there. And so when this person stepped in as president, I knew there'll be ramifications with this as well. But I believe everything serves a purpose and everything happens for a reason, even if you don't necessarily know what that reason is. So you heard me yesterday. I was so upset that we as the humans on this planet, we're supposed to be the most intelligent people. We're the most intelligent, right? And we just demolished and just inhabited the hiking trail so much over the weekend that they closed it. Now, they were visitors. We live here, but we can't even go to our own hiking trail because at the end of it is an amazing waterfall. And I thought we love nature so much, right? We put our plastic gloves on the ground. We put our mask on the ground. We put our trash on the ground. We contaminate our oceans and I want to say maybe not our rivers as much, but I know at the oceans, there's soda bottles that float up and all of the way we are leaving our imprint on this planet just comes back to slap us in the face. So I was so upset about that. So I think that's what started my day because it just continued to flow the rest of the day. And I was doing some work and I don't look at news. It's gotten to the point now it's not even interesting to look at TV anymore, I guess, because we don't have any new shows, right? Yes, I think the Dolphins do have us beat. And I happened to look at, I saw something with Gayle King and was upset about something and she said something as having been raised by a black man and raising a black man. And I thought, okay, well, I'll come back to that later. But then I turned to a page and it said that a Minnesota police was restraining someone. And so I don't usually get into it. The only way I can continue to hold this kind of high watch for, is to not be in all of it because I think so much of it is manipulation. But I went to the story And the story was that, from what I could see, there was this black man who was in his car, who may have been on drugs, may have been drinking or whatever, but he was in his car. And because I hit and missed, there must have been some way that the police officer got him out of his car and handcuffed him. So when I got to the story, he's on the ground, he's handcuffed, and his head is turned, and the officer has his foot on his neck. And the man is saying, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Now, we've heard this before. We've heard someone say, I can't breathe before. People are filming saying he can't breathe. He's telling you he can't breathe. And the police officer just keeps his foot right there, like this part on his neck. And I'm looking at it. And I look at this black man's face on the ground. And I look at this white guy, the police officer. And I think to myself, what does it feel like to know you're killing someone? And to stand there with your foot on their throat and just stand. And you're okay with that. And people on the side are saying, he can't breathe, he can't breathe. And I was just like, what in the world? When? So I let that go. And I did this. And my son's like, Mom, what's wrong? I said, oh, just a police officer killing a black man. He said, well, Mom, you know how the narrative is. I said, okay. So then I go back on again because I'm actually working. I'm going to do a prayer, a blessing circle tomorrow night. And I'm looking at doing a challenge. And then I see another story that pops up, and that gets my attention. And this one is about a black man again. I can't remember now, but he's in a park where there are birds, and they're priceless birds, unique birds, amazing birds, I guess. And the rule in this park itself from the county says, if you're going to be here, have your dogs on a leash, which makes sense because from all the cartoons that I saw with Bugs Bunny, the dog needs to be on a leash because he'd be chasing everything, particularly the birds. So this is an avid bird watcher, which seems interesting because I'm sure no one thinks that black people would be bird watchers, right? That's not what we do. We rob, we steal women's purses off the elevators, but we don't be bird watchers. And God forbid we be a president. And so he says to her, ma'am, could you put your leash on? Because that's what the rules say. See, you're right. Some people think they're above the rules. And so what occurs is what occurs all the time. She says to him, stop filming me, stop filming me. And he's like, no, the law says put your dog on a leash. And she says, well, I'm going to get on the phone and I'm going to call the police and I'm going to tell them I'm being threatened by an African-American black man. Bonjour, my dear. Bonjour. How are you? And so he keeps filming. And she does. She calls the police. And she says, excuse me, I'm calling because there's a black man here and he's threatening me. He's threatening me and my dog. Bold-faced lie. Bold-faced lie. So now, hi, Deb. How are you, my dear? I miss you too. I see you're expanding and all that kind of good stuff. I will send you a personal message. And so she's calling the police. And she, she's walking up on him. She's basically almost choking the dog, trying to prove that she's maintaining the dog, but the leash is in her hand. And I was done. I was just done. And then I thought about it, I'm like, wow, no wonder I don't go into my feelings much and why it's kind of easier for me to do my work and stay on task and motivate and empower and just keep going and keep going and keep going. Because when I go into this, it's like, what do you do with it? What do you do with it? So at some point, I think I went back to it and the police came and they let it go and she went one way, he went her one way. And then she said, oh, I'm sorry. I know, I'm sorry. I'm like, that's it? You put a man in a particular position that could cost him his life, and you say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm not racist." Well, when you pull the card and you're a white woman, it's a black man who's not doing anything, and you pull a card to send a message to the authorities saying, "Help, help, help, I'm being threatened." I'm sorry, I guess that's all you got. So I put it on my page on Facebook, but what I wanted to say, remind me of Bernie Mac, America, what I want to say to you, America, is this. I'm not mad at her. I'm not mad at the black man. I'm mad at America. My hurt is for America. It's for what I think we could be and what I think we could do and what I think we could create. And it's for all the possibilities of what we could be. It's 7 billion amazing human beings on this planet. God has created 7 billion of us, and none of us are alike. We're all unique and we're all special, made in that amazing image. And why can't we see that? I'm mad for the possibilities of what we could be, what we could grow into, what we could create, how amazing this planet could really be. And it seems like we keep getting stuck in replay. Let's replay the same stories over and over, over and over. White women being attacked by black men being shot, black men being put in prison, black boys being shot. And everybody wants to say, "Oh, don't be upset. Why are you guys saying Black Lives Matter?" Because it looks like they don't. Nobody's running around with a sign saying White Lives Matter, because it's real clear to me and everyone else that they do. So I'm not mad at that. And my hurt isn't for the behavior, for the lying. The hurt is who we could be on this planet. The hurt is that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, there's a game being played on us. And the game is called race. So we treat people based on their race, not on their value. Not on their value. Everybody's valuable. Everybody's opinion matters. All the children matter. And if we don't stand up, we're America. All 7 billion of us. It's us. So what does it take for us to truly be the leader who we used to be, but not with guns and not with weapons, but with our hearts? Why is it that our hearts don't matter that much? Hi, Carolyn Flowers. How are you? Hello, lady. So I don't know what I put on there for Wednesday Wisdom. I just know there's a wisdom in each and every one of us. And I know that each of us matter. And I know that if we don't start to make some different choices, if we don't take the stance, if we don't do it, nobody's going to do it for us. Oh, I'm glad you're fine, dear, and you're safe. If we don't do it, and every day I'm like, how do we do this? How do I make this happen? How am I a force for moving us closer to where I know we could be? And then I think the other day I was looking at something, and I looked at the news, and I looked at, Martin Luther King and John F. Kennedy and all this stuff back there. And I thought, well, Janine, back in slavery, they would just hang you up on a tree and shoot you in broad daylight. Excuse me. Right now they just got a more sophisticated way of doing it. Accuse you of a crime and shoot you. I'm like, well. So I guess progress is being made. I realized when I went to sleep last night. I guess I just wish it was faster. I just think there'd be so much more we could do. Hi, Kate. I say Kate, but it could probably be Kat. Now I see there's K-A-T. I'm sorry. There's just so much more we could do. I mean, what would this nation be like if we actually did work together? There's just so much intentionality around keeping us divided. And it's all on the media. You know, the average American just basically wants to go to work, take care of their family, raise their kids, and live life and be happy. That's all the average American wants. But all they get bombarded with on TV is black people, man is this, black children are this. No one says anything about anything else, really. That's the only person that's the target. But we could be so much more. We could do so much more. If we just reached our arms out, if we just opened our hearts, if we just took a stand. I mean, we're the ones, you're right, Crystal, we're the ones that's creating the future for our students, our kids, our babies, our grandbabies. So if we don't take a stand now, when? Oh, I'm sorry. So I went to sleep last night and I just said, well, Janine, things are better. They really are. I never think about killing anybody. And I just wondered about that man. He's lost his job. And I thought he may say, so that's fine. I lose my job for killing a black man. And he'll say, I didn't mean to. Everybody will say, I'm sorry. And in it all, I still know that God is in perfect control of everything. And everything happens for a reason. And it's all in divine order. It really is. It only is as it is because of the videotapes, because of TV, because of internet, because of Facebook. When I was growing up, we didn't have all that. So it took a minute to get to the news. Now it's like right in your face, one after another, one after another, one after another. Good afternoon, Patricia. Yes, we must take a stand. But then the question becomes, what do we stand for? And what does it look like? We've been talking about black men being shot forever now. And then it went to our young boys. What do you think, America, if you shoot all the black men, you kill all the black men, you get rid of the black race? God is the one who's creating us. You can't get rid of us. There's a reason we're all in this pot together, for us to learn how to get to each other, learn how to love each other. Out of all the doggone religions they have, the biggest piece that they hopefully would be teaching is loving each other. But no, this person's got their God, this person's got their God, this person's got their God, this person's got their rituals, this person's got their ideas, and everything's got... We cut the pie so narrow that we can barely be together. You know, I thought that man was somebody's son. That man may have been somebody's father. That man may have been somebody's grandfather. And it was, you know, I was okay until I looked at the man's face on the ground. I didn't see color. I just looked at his eyes, what I could see. And I realized that everything happens for a reason. And his reason was to bring this to our attention again, that this is how we are and how we're showing up in America. Still. And I gather the officer will say he was afraid, because that's the common thing. America has built such a narrative on the black man that everybody grab your purses, clutch this, clutch that, because here comes the black man, because every black man is going to steal, rob you, rape you, or murder you, right? And yet all your celebrities seem to be wanting to date and marry black men. So they've got this like conundrum of what's going on around black men. But for us as women, for us as mothers, for us who are raising black men, for us who are looking at this narrative, it's like, how do we change the narrative? If we're not, and the thing, thank you, Don, and I do think we're not willing to stand, because it's like, for what? We've been marching since Kennedy, since the King, since 40, 50 years ago. To what end? But it's almost like the media has everyone so frightened. It's like, well, if I take a stand for a black man, a black person, they may kill me. I may lose my job. So who do we stand for? And in all that, I have not wavered, that it's all in perfect divine order. There are no accidents. Everything happens for a reason, even when I don't know what the doggone reason is. Maybe black folks came here to this planet, to this country, to be the sacrifice for America to keep looking at itself. America has paid reparations to every other people and culture, but they won't pay reparations to black folks. I think sometimes, give us those states that you really don't want anything to do with, and give us our money for reparations. And we'll go over there and get out your hair, since we're such an eyesore to America. And I know that's not true.
I know there's some people that's like, that's not true. We love you. We don't have anything against you. We're great. We're fine. We're wonderful. We just have to figure out how to work this out. And I just wonder, how do we work it out? That's my whole thing. I'm on this planet to empower. I'm on this planet to inspire. I'm on this planet to move us forward. And I guess that's the piece. I thought that last night too. It's my expectation of what it is that I think I'm supposed to be doing on this planet that would help life be better. And maybe that's where we all get frustrated in our expectations of what we think is supposed to happen or how we're going to do it or what's going to happen. Maybe we just drop the expectations. All I know is the average person is being fed information that continues to be passed down to their children and their grandchildren. And if we don't begin to look at how to change the narrative, it just continues. And quite frankly, to God, life, and the universe, this is really a boring game. You know, if this was like what is it my child plays? NBA 2K game. Well, this game is boring. Can we get some new thoughts, some new ideas, some new actions, something different that we're doing on the planet? You need me? Here. If we could just get something different we could do on the planet. You're welcome. Some different ways that we can show up. But right now, and maybe that's the thing why kids, you get NBAK, well, this 220, so 2018 and 2019 and 2020, hopefully it'll be upgrade. Well, I'm waiting on America upgrade. And maybe that's what I think 2020 really is all about. It's this shelf, of our life that makes us have to say, what can we do? What will we do? I mean, what can we do? We've written. I've given more money to more donations for more election people that are running. You know, we send letters to the senators. We march. What more can we? We pray. You know, yesterday, if I could have found a BSU meeting or a Black Panther meeting or Humans' Right meeting, I probably would have gone to them and said, okay, what are we planning? What's our next step? What's our next actions? But I realize that it has to be individually. We have to individually look at what we're thinking, what we're saying, how we're treating each other, and then we have to expand that. And you're absolutely right. In God's eyes, we're all the same. Well, that's why I say it's the biggest trick. Because somewhere along the line, America realized that race was the card to play to separate and divide. We don't think we're all humanity. America decided, oh, there are going to be white Americans, there are going to be Black Americans, there are going to be Asian Americans, going to be Native American Americans. That's all America did, all that. America divided it all up. There's not going to be one religion, but there's going to be 10,000 religions. America did all that. So that's ingrained in her. It's separate. It's almost like conquer and divide. So how do we come together? And Crystal's right. There's the thing I keep asking myself over and over and over. What do we do? I can turn off my TV and not look at it and not be aware of it, but what do we do? It's in my heart. What do we do? Well, yeah, my son is whispering labels to me. Part of how America keeps us apart is through labels. You know, everything, they've labeled the millennials. He's 15. I'm sure they'll have a label for him. So the millennials give the baby boomers a hard time because you did this. I mean, they started early. It starts early, so now there's a bickering between them. The millennials is barely breathing. They've just been on the planet enough to go, and now all of a sudden they're in a disagreement with the baby boomers. I mean, this is how we get manipulated. This is how we get turned against each other. This is how the division happens. And it happens so subtly. And I know many of us, we just go in our houses and say, fine, forget it. I just cannot deal with all that. But we had to do something. So you tell me. I went to sleep last night. I think I cried enough. And I just said, you know, Janine, it's happening. It's happening slower than you may think. You know, back in the day, they're not taking people like in front of City Hall and just shooting them like they are in other countries. They're not taking people in front of, I guess, City Halls is where we would take them and putting them on their knees and shooting them in their head like they do in other countries. So I guess that means we're better. No, we just have our police put their hands on them and shoot them and kill them or choke them to death. So I know when I think of leaving here and going to another country to live, I know things are different in other countries. And they do feel a little bit better because the racism isn't there. It's not there. My first experience of not dealing with racism was when I went to Europe, and I was in Copenhagen and going to school and attending the college there. And I took me there to their country. So when the people on the buses were looking at me, I was doing my usual response as I would in the United States. Like, why y'all looking at me? You ain't seen a black girl before or what? Well, it would take my Danish mother to say to me, first of all, what's your problem? What's going on? I told her, everybody on the bus is looking at me. That was wrong. They ain't seen black people before. And she's like, did you ever think they were looking at you because you were pretty? I was like, no. Nobody looks at me at home because I'm pretty. That doesn't happen. And she's like, well, yeah, that happens here. We don't have the racial issues here that you guys have. First time in my life ever. I think I was 21. No, I was an undergrad. So I was 18, 19 maybe. I thought, you don't. I just thought this was the way of the world. So that's the only reason why I think of other places to go and live. But everybody says America's the greatest, and I understand that it probably is, considering the technology we do have, even though we didn't have enough for this crisis. But the way we live, and I've lived enough places in Copenhagen and been in Greece and been to Norway and to Sweden. I've seen places that I think if we had a little bit of what they had and mixed it with us, we could probably be okay, but we can't come together. So the question still becomes, what do we do? And I still say what Michelle Obama said, is you start with your neighbors. When we can look at the people next to us and we know the people next to us and we start to care about the people next to us, not just our own people, our own lives, our own family, our own health, our own children, then it opens us up to think about others, to be mindful about others. And then as they care, we care. Michelle said it. Why aren't we all having dinners on our front yards or having dinners and blocking off the streets like we do our block parties? And even if we're sitting 6 feet apart, begin to talk to each other. Who are you? Where are you from? What country are you from? Everybody's been through something. Everybody's been through something. Because that then is what brings us together. But America seems to spend so much time on keeping us apart. And because we get tired of the struggle, we just say, fine, let me just stay in my corner and leave me alone. And then when that doesn't work, you still got to come back out and say, wait, but this didn't work, and we still got to do something else. So where did I leave it? I left it that everything's in divine order. I left it that if it were an NBA 2K video game, this game is expired. I am truly asking the universe and everything up there in this planet and all the energy that I know that makes us what we are, for us to elevate our energy and start bringing down some different experiences and different actions on this planet. We can do that. Let go of all the doggone fear. What are you afraid of? You're going to die or you're going to live. And if you're going to die, then you won't have to deal with this. If you're going to live, then what quality of life you're going to live. It's time to take a stand for the life you want, for the quality of life you want, for what you want to see showing up in this world. And I know everybody can't march, and I know everybody doesn't want to get shot, and I know everybody's not ready to go to jail or trampled on or beat up by the police, but that may be what we have to do at some point. But we do have to be willing to take some kind of stand. And we'll have to see what that looks like from person to person. I donate a lot more now because I've got a child growing up, and I've got to watch him. I don't want to do this to him. I want him to still grow and have his wings. But, let him get on his way. Or if they have a march, or depending on what happens around here, I'll find a march and get involved. But we still have to hold a vision for us that's bigger than what we're seeing. And if at least we all are holding a vision, and I know it won't be PC. We're different. We came here with different experiences. We're supposed to learn how to work and accept them, not try and, just beat them down and say everybody's got to be the same. And also not try and fulfill a dream that was created back in whenever they created America that's no longer working because the country's different than what it was. It's like being a size, okay, how's that work? Being a size 16 trying to get into a size 12. So it doesn't work anymore. But we've got to stand. We've got to write, we've got to talk, we've got to send letters, we've got to let them know that it's not okay. And the people who are sitting there looking at TV and believing everything they're saying, you're being lied to and manipulated. That's just the bottom line. My grandmother said it almost 60, 70 years ago. She called it the idiot box. It's a tell a vision. It is telling a vision that America wants you to have. And that vision basically right now on most of the channels for these last, I don't know how many years, has been black men need to leave the planet. We're killing them. We're going to put them in jail. We're going to murder them. And oh, yes, Don't let me forget. Let's do their young boys too. That's just a fact. So I'm sorry people take it personal when we say Black Lives Matter and you're like, well, all lives matter. Well, if that were the case, are your boys getting shot to the degree that black boys are and black men are? Is your population filling up the jails, particularly in Texas, that are owned by the Bushes and whoever else down there? Are your people, your son, in there just as much as black boys and black men? Then yeah, we are in it together. But if not, then the narrative is that it's not. They're more of the narrative around negativity, around black folks, black men, and black youth. We have to work harder to make sure that you see us for who we really are, not what the media tells you we are. And here we are in this stage of the game, and most of the critical essential workers are the very people that have been not appreciated, I'll say, as much as they could have been because of the color of their skin. And I get America. I get America. I know you see your African Americans, you're like, well, they're lazy, they're lazy, they're lazy. Well, when you've moved people out of the market, because see, when I was growing up, black folks was in every store that I was in, going in, working, and whatever. But when you move people out of the market, when you move other cultures into our communities, La Puente, California, thank you. No, dear, don't feel alone in your feelings. When somebody was talking to you yesterday, she's like, why don't you share your feelings? And I'm like, because there's so much and they're so big, but I just couldn't get past this one. I do have feelings, you guys. I do focus on my mission of motivating you and empowering you and keeping you on track. But, you get the feelings and then it's like, what do you do with them? What do you do with them? And even as I talk about it, but it's going to come up for me and there's going to be tears because I have a bigger dream for America than obviously America has for itself. And it doesn't include killing anybody, killing black men, killing Mexican men, killing Latino men, killing Asian men. You don't hear about any other people being killed on a regular basis but African-American men. And people want to say, there's nothing going on? Oh, they deserve it? How come? Because God put them on the planet and you decide you're better, no more than God, so they shouldn't be here? I mean, what is it with black men? My gosh. But anyway, I digress. So we're going to move forward. We're going to be mindful of what we saw. We're going to send wonderful energy to the woman who called the police on the man about the bird. We're going to trust that the police officer gets dealt with however they get dealt with. I'm sure he'll have full pay and he'll be taken care of and he'll go on and live his life and maybe shoot and kill some other people. We'll trust that the family of all of these people will recognize that there is strength and power no matter what. We'll trust that everything happens in divine order. You live in South Central all my life, and I always seen how black people have been treated different. Yes. Oh, yeah, Martina. I grew up in South Central. I grew up in South Central when it was all black community. And then gradually we moved out or were forced out or whatever. That gentrification happened back in the 60s, 70s maybe. And then the community's completely changed now. When I go by my home that I grew up in, it's completely different. But see, in the community where I grew up, we were together. We laughed, we talked, we had fun. They played in the street. We fussed back and forth, and we were cool. And then one day we looked up the street, and there was a Gil's Taco. There was a Latino, had a business. And some black folks had businesses because we had Lamert Park. And then it'd be a couple more years later that I would walk down the street, and what used to be a donut shop was now owned by Asians in the black community in the 70s. Now, black folks couldn't get a loan to have a business. My father and mother had a business on Central Avenue way before I was born. They had a store and the whole family helped out and everything was jamming on Central Avenue in Los Angeles. All the clubs, all the restaurants, and black folks owned everything down there then. Gentrification came through and it shifted. And that's just the way it is. It's going to keep shifting. It's going to keep changing. I was on 108th and Main, off of 108th between Main and San Pedro, and Gil's Tacos was right there on on San Pedro on the corner. I went to Locke High School. So that's just it, but we get to set the narrative. So all I'm saying is going forward, take our deep breaths, cry whatever we need to cry, and we keep on moving. We keep on doing what we need to do. Talk to your neighbors, encourage the connections. The more we can talk to each other, the more we can begin to understand each other, the more we can make some different choices and hold different people accountable when it comes to our political, you know, candidates, because that's a joke too. My son is so tired of the two system party. He's like, what in the world were you guys thinking with two with two parties? I'm like, well, there's really like 4 or 5, but it only ends up being blue and red, and there again is another division. So Gil's still, Randy's Donuts is there, right? Because Gil's Tacos, I know they left. So we look at where we are and we hold the vision that we're still moving toward where it is we say we want to go. I still think that most of America is wanting to be the great America that it was before. Over then, it was, although then it was being a bully. America was a bully back then. They're playing two sides against the middle. They give one country guns that's in a war with another country, but at the same time, they give the other country some money so they can fight together. So that was what we were doing back then. So we still have a long way to go. And I think part of what's happening now is to remind us that we do have a long way to go and that we are the energy that makes it happen. Nothing else can make this happen but each and every one of us. So don't give up. You just cry and let it go. It's still in God's divine order. I still know that no one leaves this planet unless God says it's time for them to go. Now, how they go is a different story. And I think how they go is for us, but that's another talk show. That it's for a particular reason to motivate us, to remind us, to connect us deeper to God, however you define it, which we haven't even talked about. So I know that there are no accidents. I know that everything happens for a reason greater than I could ever imagine, because I don't know how to create a tree. I don't know how those tangerines happen on my tree. I don't know why these squirrels come and eat their food and don't clean up behind themselves. There's a lot of things I don't know. But it doesn't stop me from still holding a vision for something more amazing and something bigger for America. And it's each and every one of us. It's not the system. It's not the politics. It's not the candidates. Each and every one of you who hear this, who listen to this, who see this, you and I are America. Whether America likes it or not, whether America doesn't like the color of my skin, whether America may not like that I have my braids and now we have to have a law so I can wear my doggone braids. I don't care, America. The truth is, you, America, with a small a, really need to bow down to all 7 billion of us when we recognize how powerful we are and understand that we make up America. So we get to decide. We get to choose. And I hope that each and every one of you take that power seriously. The next thing, of course, coming is the election. And we won't even deal with that today. The fact that how are we even going to get our doggone votes in while we've got all this other stuff going on? So know that God has not run out of creating black men on this planet. In America, you're going to have to keep up with God about his black children and his black men being on this planet, because for whatever reason, God thinks it's important enough for them to be here, and they have a reason to be here, no matter how many you choose to kill, no matter how many you put into prisons, no matter how many young people that you suffocate, or how many women, young black women in their home, minding their own business, that you shoot them through the window in the back. No matter how many times you do it, we're still here. We're still showing up because God has us here. You're not creating us. God is. As long as God continues to create us and continues to breathe all of our 7 billion breaths, including yours, and long as God continues to beat our hearts, we're in good shape. We're going to be here. We're going to stand. So wipe those tears off your face just like I did. Put your hand over your heart and just let your heart know that you're living, you're alive, you're breathing, and you're feeling. Because that's what it's about. You're feeling. You're not in fear. You're not in worry. You're just feeling the truth of what's happening on this planet. And I believe this is also part of the whole process of 2020. It's 2020. It started with Kobe, and Kobe hit me hard. I never would have expected to have been impacted so much by Kobe. I was just like, and I thought, okay, if that's what he opens up the year with, the universe moves Kobe off the planet, then we've got a lot of growing to do. And that's what these days are. That's what these hurts are about, is for us to grow, for us to open our hearts. You know, I'm still walking up and down the street and people don't say hi. I still say hi. They don't say anything back. I don't care. I'm going to keep saying hi to you, because one day it's going to click and you're going to say hi. And I may realize that you're not saying hi to me didn't have anything to do with the color of my skin. It may have been because of something that was going on with you. I'm not going to take it personal unless you tell me you ain't speaking to me because you don't want to talk to me. That's a different story. So we have a mission. We need to stay on that mission. Be mindful. Keep track of what's being said to you, what you really believe, what your beliefs, what your thoughts. Keep allowing that to grow and evolve. And we will become the America that I think we all say that we really do want. And for our hurts, just let those tears fall. I see you, Nicole. She said, yes, my heart is hurting. Just let them fall. 'Cause it's okay. We all can't stay on this planet anyway. So, and I know we all have our natural deaths. We're like, that's fine. Just let them go naturally. Although, even when they go naturally, we get mad because we're not ready for them to go. It's just when we think there's something unjust about it. And I have to trust in that power and presence that's breathing my breath and beating my heart, that even though it seems unjust, that according to God's divine plan, it's all in perfect order. So have a great day today. I guess the specific wisdom is to know that it's all in divine order. It really is the way it's supposed to be. God has not got a limit on how many black men and black youth will be on this planet. There are no accidents. Everything happens for a reason, including leaving the planet. And that you and I are the power of what makes this country what it is. So we need to decide how we're going to stand, how we're going to show up in our everyday lives and our everyday experiences. Because it'll look different than what you think. It's like if you're standing there and you see somebody saying something to a black kid, you may have to step up and say, excuse me, wait a minute. What are you saying to that kid? It may be that you're standing somewhere and someone's jumping to a conclusion about a black man. You're like, wait. No, wait, that's not what happened. You know, it may mean that you're the person that sees something and you videotape it that saves someone's life. It may mean that you're active in a different kind of way than you've been in the past. That may actually be what is calling for us to do. Is to stand in different ways. When you see something that's not okay, when you're suspicious about something, when your intuition hits you and says, then follow it. Every person who's felt their intuition and they took a picture of something, it has saved someone's life. Because we are very clear that without these videotapes, that none of these people would be found innocent. So maybe that's where we go forward. Is you know when you see it. In the airport, they used to say, see something, say something. Same thing in the world. If you see something, say something. If it's something that doesn't resonate with you and goes against what you're thinking for the vision of America, then you can step in however you feel comfortable for you. And sometimes it may be that you just stand there with someone. And some white person may be saying something crazy to a black person, and you just stand there. And you become that person's witness. Do you know what that would mean? Just the thought of that just hit me. Do you know what that would mean to someone if they're getting bombarded or harassed by another person? And someone just comes and stands with them and say, I'll stand here with you. I'll support you. So we keep thinking like that, out the box. There are ways that we can impact this planet and impact each other. Have a great day. I've been on here for forever. You know, you got the wisdom. It's Wednesday. Make it an amazing day for you. Let those tears flow. I'm not going on that computer today. I'm not sure whoever's trying to leave the planet or whoever's getting killed or shot or whatever stepped on today. I'm leaving it up to God. I'm out of it. My heart just can't take it. I got to do some work. I put a link on this page for you to join me in a prosperity blessing circle tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon. It's at 4:00. I'm thinking some people are still off from work. So let's go back to our dreams. Let's dream. Let's dream a new America. Let's dream a new life for you, new business, new opportunities. So that's what we'll be doing at 4 p.m. tomorrow, Pacific Standard Time. So that's what the link is. It says oshun.kartra.com. Just click it. It'll take you to the page. And if not, take good care. Take good care of your hearts. You know, we're like on a roller coaster ride. And I feel like we're kind of in the middle. It's like they open things up and we're just kind of here hovering to see what's going to happen next. And then we'll either go like this or we'll keep going up and even off. Okay, take good care. Love to all of you. Stay safe. Take care of you. Take care of your hearts. Bye for now.